Hello and welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Olajide Bello. First, the headlines. Rescue operation heightens as Maiduguri flood water begin to recede. The United Nations calls for more support for Nigeria. Floods and landslide have killed about 300 people in Myanmar, Vietnam, Laos and Thailand in the wake of Typhoon Yagi, forcing thousands to flee their homes. US President Joe Biden and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer in talks over Ukraine by delaying from firing its missile. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer and US President Joe Biden have delayed a decision to let Ukraine fire long-range Western-supplied missiles into Russia. The plan has sparked serious threats from Moscow of a war with NATO. Starmer told reporters at the White House that he had a discussion about strategy with Biden, but it was not a meeting about a particular capability. Before the meeting, officials had said Starmer would press Biden to back his plan to send British Storm Shadow missiles to Ukraine to hit deeper inside Russia, as allies become increasingly concerned about the battlefield situation. However, the Labour leader indicated that he and Biden would now discuss the plan at the UN General Assembly in New York on next week after a wider group of individuals.
And other parts of the world. This wasn't a meeting about a particular capability. That wasn't why we got our heads down today. It was to allow ourselves the space which we took, the time which we took, to have a strategic discussion so that tactical decisions can be seen within the wider strategy. And it was a really good invitation from the President. We've had a very productive and we've come to a strong position. I'm very pleased that we've had these discussions.
As they met with their teams in the White House, Biden played down a warning by Russian President Vladimir Putin about allowing Ukraine to fire the weapons would mean the West was at war with Russia. German and Kenyan officials have signed an agreement in Berlin to promote the recruitment of skilled workers who can fill gaps in Germany's labor market and to facilitate the repatriation of Kenyans who don't have the right to stay in Germany. Francis Udojo has the details.
The agreement between Germany and Kenya was signed during a visit to Germany by Kenyan President William Ruto, who met the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz. Scholz told reporters after the signing ceremony that it was an important agreement that marks an effort by Germany and Kenya to cooperate more closely on migration and compensate for a shortage of skilled workers, adding that Germany is already feeling the impact of such a labor shortage and that it will be with Germany for years and decades to come. Germany has grappled for years with the need to attract more skilled workers from outside the European Union. Experts say the country needs about 400,000 skilled immigrants each year as its aging workforce shrinks. Ruto said the agreement will benefit both sides because it brings together the potentials of educated young Kenyans and German technology and resources.
We celebrate the signing of this comprehensive migration and labor mobility partnership agreement that will provide a context for expanding the relationship between our two countries, the people-to-people relationship, and for giving us an opportunity to unlock the potential in technology in Germany and human capital in Kenya, where we have a big youth bulge, educated, innovative, hardworking young people.
Francis Udojo, NTA News.
Local authorities in Cameroon's far north region have launched an emergency flood appeal. Flooding caused by weeks of heavy rainfall has displaced thousands of families and destroyed swaths of farmland. It has also disrupted learning as dozens of schools have remained closed.
It's been nearly a month since torrential rains hit the far north province of Cameroon. The effects can still be felt in Yagoua, Much of the town is submerged, leaving residents stranded.
There's no way for the water to get out, so the water is at the same level. Even if you try hard to get it out, it always comes back to the same place. So we've been in water for 3 weeks, as you can see. Even in the kitchen there's water, so we can't put anything on the fire. For those who don't have a fence, the water level carries everything away, even the pots.
Many roads are impassable, forcing people to move around in these small boats known as pirogues. Recent rainfall led to the collapse of a key bridge that linked the city's main districts. With the start of the new school year, pupils are being moved to schools that are still functioning.
We're here to take the necessary measures to ensure the safety of pupils who have to cross to the side of the river where there are schools. You can see for yourselves the system in place, with vehicles and pirogues enabling pupils to cross to the other side.
It is a laborious journey each day. Some students have to cross town on tracks and then take boats to reach their schools.
The tarmac has given way to water, and wherever you see these vessels going by, that's where the main road is. We do our best to cross these tides of water to get to our places of services. It is not easy, but as it is back to school, we have no choice. We have to go and look after our children and little brothers on the other side.
In the meantime, resettlement sites are being created for families who have lost their homes. Local authorities are appealing for help to manage the situation.
Floods and landslides have killed almost 300 people in Myanmar, Vietnam, Laos and Thailand in the wake of Typhoon Yagi, which dumped a colossal flood of rain when it hit the region last weekend, forcing thousands to flee their homes. Francis Dojo reports that Myanmar's junta chief has made a rare request for foreign aid to cope with deadly floods.
The military junta in Myanmar, Min Aung Hlaing, said more than 235,000 people have been forced from their homes by floods. The effects of the floods further compounded the country's plight, coupled with war, which has raged since the military seized power in 2021. In Tongu, residents paddled makeshift rafts on flood waters that reached the rooftops of some buildings. Around 300 people were sheltering at a monastery on high ground in a nearby village. Some of the people lament as they say they are surrounded by water and do not have enough food for everyone. The need for clean drinking water and medicine have also become a priority. Outside another temple, Buddhist nuns waded through knee-deep water while seeing the lost rice, chickens, ducks, and cows. Francis Dojo, NTA News.
The United Nations agencies say Nigeria needs urgent global support to address the humanitarian crisis resulting from the ravaging flood in Borno State. The World Food Programme and Food and Agriculture Organization estimates that about 147.9 million will be required to provide food and non-food items to the flood-affected people in Maiduguri and other food-insecure people in the northeast for the next 6 months. Musababa Aliyu has the details.
The breach of the Alau Dam in Maiduguri, Borno State brought about anguish, sorrow and uncertainty to the residents of the state. Floodwaters have taken over their houses, leaving them with no option but to move to safer ground. Some of them, mostly the elderly, women and children, were evacuated. Aisha Aliyu, a victim, says she found herself in a difficult situation.
It's very terrible, very terrible. I never pray for even my enemy to experience such a thing. For you to leave your home without any single thing, just with your own personal clothes, is not something to pray for anymore in your life.
More than 400,000 people who were displaced are being sheltered in night camps in Maiduguri. An air survey carried out by the United Nations World Food Programme showed that food, shelter and clean water are the immediate needs of the people.
You know, the flood has affected them. They can't have access to their banks even. So what we decided to do is to give 10,000 naira to each of the heads of household, both male and female heads household. This is what we are doing. Then subsequently we'll distribute food and non-food items to all of them. So far so good. We have mobilized cooks and they have started cooking food in this camp.
WFP established kitchen in 3 camps, providing meals to the displaced persons. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations said floods in the northeastern states of Adamawa, Borno and Yobe states have compounded the food security challenges in the northeast. United Nations organizations therefore appealed for more funding to support the ongoing humanitarian response, early recovery, including food and non-food items. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
The National Emergency Management Agency has spearheaded a complex search and rescue mission leading to the evacuation of hundreds of families trapped in locations worst hit by the flood within Maiduguri and its environs. With many of such families yet to be reached, NEMA is calling for additional critical equipment to aid in the rescue efforts. Pauline Kujevana has the details.
As the flood water slowly recedes from the city of Maiduguri down to Abaganaram and Custom Gambaru Road access, evacuation and rescue mission in these areas have become a top priority. NEMA and other emergency responders are racing against time to reach the stranded victims, rescue and evacuate them to safer places. The situation on ground is there, with many people still waiting for help to arrive. Specifically, the agency is seeking more boats to reach out to those stranded at Abaganaram and 505 axis. In addition to medical care, NEMA also provided tents to shelter the evacuated victims, bringing the total of displacement so far profiled to close to 200,000.
There are still cases of people trapped. We can't ascertain the figure, but we are sure there are into thousands of people. Our people have been moving into the SSS quarters and the 505 axis through the Abaganaram route. They have been bringing in people.
However, despite the agency's best effort, challenges persist as water, sanitation and hygiene remain significant concerns.
We're trying to avoid a situation of outbreak. The Borno State government directed the Ministry of Environment and Health through the GM Bosepa. They've been able to come and clean up the place.
The agency's work is far from over, but with support of the government and the people, they are making a significant difference in the lives of those affected by the flood. In Maiduguri, Pauline Kujevana, NTA News.
The Federal Ministry of Environment remains committed to supporting Borno State in its recovery efforts by providing necessary technical and logistical intervention to address challenges posed by the flood disaster. The Minister of Environment, Balarabe Abbas Lawan, said this while on a commiseration visit to the state over the disaster that affected about 2 million people. Godia Jacob reports.
The minister, who was accompanied by the permanent secretary of the ministry, Mahmoud Adam Kambarima, and other directors, sympathized with the government and the people of Borno over the devastating disaster which claimed many lives and property.
So we're here to join hands with the government of Borno State to see what we can do to reduce the effect of this catastrophe. Being the Minister of Environment, what has happened is directly affecting my mandate as the minister. So I'm here to do my job, to work with the government of Borno State. I came with a team of experts in various areas that will address, because this flood is just the beginning, because the aftermath is more devastating.
Governor Babagana Umar Zulum, in his response, appreciated the minister for the visit and also assured him of the state government's support to the ministry in its quest to mitigate environmental challenges occasioned by the flood disaster.
Members of the Borno State government, especially the Ministry for the Environment, we closely work with your team with a view to addressing, especially the medium and longer term sustainable solutions to this our problem.
The visitors prayed to Almighty Allah to avert the occurrence of the calamity and to comfort those who lost their loved ones and property. In Maiduguri, Godia Jacob, NTA News.
Federal government has again reassured Nigerians that efforts are on to end all forms of insecurity plaguing various parts of the country for socio-economic activities to continue to flourish. Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, gave assurance when he led presidential delegation to identify with the government and people of Yobe State over the recent security incident in Mafa community. Yunusa Suleiman reports.
The presidential delegation, Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, stated that the federal government is deeply concerned about the recent attack on Mafa community and is taking decisive action to prevent future occurrence. On behalf of President Tinubu, the minister expressed heartfelt condolences to the families of the victims and the people of Yobe State. During the visit, the delegation and the Yobe State government unanimously agreed that the president's gesture demonstrates his unwavering commitment to ending insecurity and promoting peace and stability across the country.
Under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's able leadership, one of his 8 priority areas, and perhaps the key one, is to provide security of lives and property for all Nigerians. That is the basis on which he is looking to revamp the economy.
And with the resolve of the government that we have today, more than ever before, I want to assure you there is a matter of time, small time remaining. The entire country will be secured.
And on our part, as civil populace, as Yorubians, I want to urge all of us to continue as we always do for our president to succeed. Because the success of the president is the success of the nation. We know to provide leadership in difficult times has its own challenges. But of course, the president we know is equal to the task.
In a related development, the Gombe State government has donated 50 million naira to the victims of Mafa attack to alleviate their suffering and support their recovery. In Damaturu, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA News.
This is the news on NTA International. More reports when we return. Thanks for being there. The Renewed Hope Initiative has again reached out to wives of fallen heroes and veterans of the Nigerian Armed Forces. This time with economic empowerment items. National chairman of the initiative and Nigeria's First Lady, Remi Tinubu, while handing over the items to the defense and police officers' wives in Abuja, says the intervention aims to grow the business community within the security sector. Details of our reports will come in our subsequent bulletin. Moving on, after decades of blocked river basin and menace of typhoid grass, which have impacted negatively on the ecological balance and livelihoods, the Nguru wetlands in Yobe State are once again beehives of activities following the agro-climatic resilience and semi-arid landscapes of the World Bank and the federal government's dredging intervention, which has now led to the return of water for farming and fishing activities in the area. Charles Alpha reports.
Had these children been born 11 years ago, they would not have known how it feels to swim inside these wetlands. These wetlands were not here, and if they were, this monster called typhoid grass won't allow it. For 11 years, these fishermen, farmers, and traders either had low farm yields or relatively low income because water never flowed to a once known wetlands which served as a major source of livelihoods. This is because for more than a decade, the river basin remained blocked, preventing water from flowing, and a stubborn grass called typha, which invaded the entire wetlands.
So the absence of water of 11 years make us dry. Our people go to somewhere to eat, travel to Niger, travel to Chad, travel to Cameroon because we are drying. No water here.
We suffered a lot, simply because there is no running water.
By using gen and dig bore or put well to dig water out of the well and give it to the farm.
The Nguru wetlands, a place of zen and peace, spans 4,500 square kilometers in Nguru local government area of Yobe State. For years, these wetlands were nothing but dry lands, which forced many in Karbi in Bula Berlin, Yankifi communities to migrate to neighboring states, Jigawa, in search of farmlands and new life. But through the intervention of the Agroclimatic Resilience in Semi-Arid Landscapes, AgriSol, a World Bank project under the supervision of the Federal Ministry of Environment, the water has returned and the wetlands have once again come back to life following the purchase and deployment of the swamp buggy, also called the amphibian excavator, which was used to dredge the water and clear the taifa grass.
Now we are very happy because the AgriSol, they assist our community. They're clearing all the grasses and blockage in the waterways. Now our people, they can go to farm. Some fishers, they are go to the bush and get something that feed their self and their family.
If it is wheat, I farm almost getting to 150, 100, but gradually it has started coming down 70, 60, 40. For now, we are expecting almost maybe 300 or so because the water is now full. The volume of the water is high now. The rice can make it well.
The CRF that they brought to them has really contributed, helped them immensely in terms of livelihood enhancement. Now they don't wait until their husband give them money before they can sustain the family.
And from 11 years, I cannot get even 10 bucks. Because I'm not using it here, I will buy petroleum to use my farm. But now, the best farm I started, I get over 128 bucks for rice. So that's the reason why I'm proud of you. I will be happy with your coming. I will be used all my life to support you.
We are happy that water is being restored. We are happy that conflicts between the herders and farmers are also being solved. We are happy that there is no longer migration.
Not only has this intervention cleared the taifa grass and created free flow of people and businesses, it has neutralized the grass inability to serve as host to the vectors of cholera, mosquitoes, but it has also led to the restoration of the ecosystem of these areas. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
As part of the renewed commitment to ending acts of terrorism ravaging the western part of the country, the Defense Headquarters has introduced new military operation in the sub-region. The Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa unveiled the operation while on a courtesy visit to Zamfara State Governor Dauda Lawal at the Government House. So, Jamilu Ibrahim reports.
The ongoing military operations aimed at stemming the tides of the criminal elements terrorizing people of Zamfara State are obviously making positive impacts. This is evident in the recent killing of some notorious kingpins of the terrorists. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, who was on a working visit to Zamfara State, interacted with Governor Dauda Lawal at the Government House Gusau on the new measures being put in place for better performance. General Musa, who said President Bola Tinubu has approved the deployment of more personnel and warfare equipment to the northwest, also unveiled a new military operation in the sub-region codenamed Operation Fansanyama.
What we are going to do now is we are turning the operation into a theater, just like how we have in the northeast. The theater means we have a central commander who is the Joint Task Force commander. Then we have the company commanders who will be the GOC's 1 div and the GOC 8 div. And then so that all our operations are going to be together. Then we'll have company commanders, the police, the immigration, the custom, everybody will be part of the operation.
Governor Dauda Lawal applauded the military and other security agencies in the state for their gallantry in the fight against the marauding terrorists.
My government is fully committed to cooperate with the military and other security agencies in the state. And with the comments you made, I'm very, very optimistic. It's a matter of time. Peace will return to that same Zamfara that I knew about.
The need for communities in Zamfara State to desist from any act of collaborating with the terrorists and to be assisting the security operatives with actionable intelligence was emphasized during the interaction. Special prayers were also offered for the repose of the souls of some security operatives recently ambushed by the terrorists along Gusau-Funtua Road. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
And troops have rescued 106 kidnapped victims eliminated 165 terrorists and arrested 18. In a statement, the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, says troops also recovered 145 weapons and 1.2 million liters of stolen crude oil in the last 7 days. The Defense Headquarters assures that troops will continue to apply maximum force against terrorists and violent extremists across the country. President Bola Tinubu commends military and the successful operations in Northwest with a pledge to sustain his support for their operation. The president, who received with relief the news of the strings of successful operations against security threats in the Northwest by troops of the Nigerian military, said the success of the operations gives further assurance that the nation's security operatives are up to the task of ensuring the peace and security of the country. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, says troops of Operation Hadarin Daji had on Thursday neutralized a wanted bandit leader, Halilu Sububu, who had been unleashing terror on citizens in Zamfara, Sokoto and other parts of the northwestern Nigeria. The troops also killed another terrorist, Sani Wallah Burki, in a joint operation in Katsina and busted the terrorist enclave in Kaduna, where 13 kidnapped students were freed. The successful operations follow the President's directive to the service chiefs to relocate to the zone until normalcy is restored. President Tinubu equally commended the military high command, the intelligence agencies and troops for their valiant efforts, synergy and dedication that has resulted in the recent laudable outcomes. President Tinubu also commended the entire security apparatus for the improved security in the nation and enjoined them to sustain their efforts until immediate and latent threats are permanently removed, with assurances of his continued support in achieving the primary objective of keeping the nation safe and secure. And up next is the weather forecast. And that's it on the news on NTA International. Many thanks for being a part of it. I am Olajide Bello.